We're so happy to have you with us today, Mrs. Crow. Really a great member of the history of St. Genevieve and a person that's beloved by our community. Of course, your husband, Lindon, who rests in heaven, is a beloved member of our school history. And we're just so happy to have you with us today and have a chance to interview you.
Thank you.
We wanted to just ask you a couple of questions and let you tell some of the stories of St. Genevieve. So if we could start, which one, some of your favorite memories of your time at St. Genevieve?
The day we won the 1978 CIF.
Tell us a little bit about that, Mrs. Crow. Tell us like maybe some of the
I think
feelings
it was
that
70.
you had, that coach had.
Well, being a new member of St. Genevieve's, he wasn't too sure because he'd been at Cal State Northridge under a different type of football. And what he did before we went down for the game, he spoke just to the team privately. And when he left the building, he and all the students were in tears, but they said, "We're going to do it for you, coach." And that was what they got out there, and they played their hearts out. And Lindon was extremely proud of all of them. And I was very proud of the boys too, not just my husband. I will never forget that evening.
I'm sure.
The ride home was unbelievable because Lindon and the team were delayed by the buses. And we waited and waited and waited. And it's what the kitchen at the school is, where the dining room is. When they finally arrived, we just all let out one big scream and cried and carried on.
Sounds good, Mrs. Crow. Mrs. Crow, what was your tenure at St. Genevieve, you and Coach? Like, when did you guys arrive at St. Gen's, and I guess like the years?
Well, Lindon came in the fall of 1976 as the new coach. And Father John Venegas asked Lindon if what I did, where I was working, and he told the Father John that I was a secretary and so forth and so on. And he said, would she be willing to come and teach at St. Genevieve's? And I said, absolutely. And so that following January, I came in and I was amazed at the equipment. And we got that all taken care of. We had new typewriters come in. I taught steno, which was even some of the boys took steno, which was cracking me up. And then I asked if I could teach accounting. And Father John Venegas said, absolutely. And with Lindon full time as a teacher also, we were amazed that we loved the place from the very beginning, and we tried to make it even better. And then I introduced work experience to the school and found a lot of the kids' jobs through interviews. And I think my biggest thrill was being the cheerleading moderator for about 4 years.
Tell us a little bit about that, Mrs. Crow.
Well, when you get a bunch of young women together, and there's a lot of stories I could tell, but jealousies, which by the time I got finished with them, I said, listen, you all have the same ability, and that's what counts. And I can't say anything more than that. The gals were great to have around. But my experience at St. Genevieve's was not just cheerleading and work experience and teaching. It was the amazing students that we had that cared. And the ones who didn't care, Lindon and I tried to help with.
Great. Who are some of your colleagues at St. Gen's that made an impact and that you remember? Some of the other teachers and staff, maybe.
Well, Ron Hoffman, he was a great mentor for me and for Lindon. Tom Minard, even though he weighed 300 and some odd pounds, he was a very bright man. He taught me a lot about life. Sister Angela Claire, whom I love dearly, she made a comment when she heard Lindon was coming to the school. Why would a man with his background want to teach at St. Genevieve's? Well, she found out. And Sister Andrine was a mentor to me. She helped me through some of my problems with teaching. Then John Van Grinsman, when did he come into St. Genevieve's?
I want to say he graduated in 74 and maybe came in 78, 79, maybe?
Yeah, he was another person that I just had a great deal of respect for. And every time I see him, I let him know that.
Sounds good, Mrs. Crow. Vince, you want to ask the next question?
When you talk about Lindon and his time at St. Genevieve, what did St. Genevieve mean to him? How did he feel about St. Genevieve?
Well, I'll tell you something. When Maricela came up to visit us, and I have to go forward a little bit, we had no idea who she was. But when she came to visit us and she explained the feelings of some of the alumni, Lindon asked me, what is going on? And I said, I don't know. And Maricela said, you were loved more than you ever knew. And Lindon broke down and he said, what did we do? He said, I love the school and I was very unhappy to have to leave it. But he said, I was just myself. And I love people. I love football. I love being around people. And he was amazed when he found out the love that he had from the very, very beginning. And that even brought us closer to a lot of the alumni at the school. He had a tough side, though.
So I guess why did Lindon and why did Coach Crow come to coach football at St. Genevieve? I mean, he played for the NFL, then he was at CSUN. What drew you guys to St. Genevieve?
Well, we were at CSUN, and my brother-in-law, for some strange reason, said, you know, there's a school up there that, and I don't know how Cecil knew about it, he says, but they're looking for a football coach. And so I don't know who Lindon contacted. I don't know if he contacted, I think he contacted Ron Hoffman. And the next thing we knew, he was giving his notice to CSUN and going to St. Genevieve's. And he came home and he told me, he said, I think you're going to love where I'm going to be from now on.
Looking back at that comment, Mrs. Crow, what do you think of today? Kind of thinking back, how many years ago was that coach said that, Mrs. Crow?
Well, you figure it was 1976, and we would have never left, and that's another story. But the love we had for St. Genevieve's, that's why we took out time to be with some students who needed us. I helped girls learn how to quilt. I taught them how to do counted cross stitch. We learned things outside of the school together. And when they found out Lindon was with the NFL, that made it even more questions came out with the kids. And I don't know, I could go on and on. It's just a place that I wish I could be right there now. And so would Lindon. Lindon would have never left, but we had to leave.
you've stayed connected with St. Genevieve over the years. We've had the pleasure of getting to know you more and more, and you've joined our faculty and staff for prayer. What keeps you connected with St. Genevieve?
Beg pardon?
What's kept you connected with us, with St.
Because you have done something that I think we should have known a long time ago. You've reached out to us. We didn't have to reach out to you. We reached out to you. You reached out to us through the Alumni Association, I would suspect. But what you have done for me since Lindon passed away, and that'll be 2 years this Sunday, I'm overwhelmed with joy. And if I could, I would give more than I do now, because just to help keep the school going the way that you have put the school back where it belongs, and even better than when we were there. I don't know. It's just something about saying, I would love to live down in Panorama City so I could be there, sneak in on campus, go to the football games, go to the basketball games. And the different things that you have brought into the school are amazing to me.
Well, you're welcome anytime you're in the area, Mrs. Crow. I hope you know that.
Well, Kevin McConville and George Gomez are, as I told you before, are very close to me. And there are others that are, even people, and now Angie Ganem, Maricela. When Lindon passed away, I had something like 154 messages on Facebook just from St. Genevieve students, which amazed me. So my love is for you people and for those people more than anybody else in this world. I would do anything for St. Genevieve's High School. What I contributed on that scholarship is minimal. But I just want you to know that my heart is at St. Genevieve's and always will be.
Thank you. Thank you. So,
I'm sorry, Juan.
No, go ahead.
You have been so generous with your giving. What would you like to say to other people listening to this message, other alum?
Well, if they can afford it and still love St. Genevieve's, they'll find a way. I hope they do, because it's a school that I am more proud of being now than I ever was before. And if I could send a message out to these people, if you love St. Genevieve and you want to make sure that it stays as it is and grows more beautifully than it already is, help in any way you can. Ask God to help you. That's what God did for me.
Thank you, Mrs. Crow. Mrs. Crow, I guess the next question is, you have given back. You do give back. Why do you give back, Mrs. Crow?
I give back. I don't give back to everybody. That's for sure. I will give to St. Genevieve's as long as I can, because for the 12 years, and my Lindon even said this. He said, honey, I didn't know that we had that much love, and I feel badly that I didn't know it before. And I'm in tears, because he realized that the 12 years we spent there were the happiest years we've ever spent anywhere. And we have moved around, let me tell you. When we left St. Genevieve's, we moved around. But our thoughts have always been with St. Genevieve's, and they always will be. And I wish he could be here to hear me say this.
I'm sure he is, Mrs. Crow. He's listening to us, all of us.
Yeah. And Vince and Juan, it's amazing. The word awe isn't the right word, but why have you allowed me to be part of St. Genevieve? I don't know, the memorial that you gave him, and the memorial, you even paid attention to me when I came down for that. And I guess I have to say it boggles my mind, but because it's the love that you have shown me, I'm going to return to you folks.
Well, I mean, I guess if you asked me, Mrs. Crow, Vince may have a different answer, but if you asked me, it's, you know, if you look at the history of St. Genevieve and you look at who were the people that made a true difference in this community, and I think that would be you, for sure, would be one of them, and most definitely Coach Crow was one of those people that made a huge impact on the St. Genevieve community. And I think it's evident of the love that the student body has for you, that the alumni have for you. And why wouldn't we? You know, you guys gave so much, and not just in, you know, you guys gave so much love to St. Genevieve, to the students. And I think it showed. It showed that, you know, you not only gave back as in teachers or as in a coach, but when the students talk about you and Coach Crow, when the alumni talk about you and Coach Crow, the one thing that they talk about is the personal impact that you had on their lives. So take the coaching apart, take the accounting, the steno aside, but the fact that you treated the alumni like your own children. You did your best to guide them, to help them, to make sure that they were productive young men and women of society. And so why would we not, you know, give back and show you the love that you showed the students and the faculty and staff at St. Genevieve?
Well, I'll tell you something. Up until Maricela walked through our front door, Lyndon and I had no idea that there were that many students who really cared for us. And that's why my love for St. Genevieve's is even growing stronger every day, because of the I don't know. I think about a lot of the students we worked with, and I never resented it. We did it because we loved them, I guess. And we even helped failing students. We got them going again. Kevin McConville can tell you a few stories.
Well, I think, Mrs. Crow, to what Juan's point was, you know, you are family. You are family to us. And that family environment at St. Genevieve that we're proud of today is something that was started and continued with Lyndon and with you. So that's why we welcome you back, because you're family and always will be.
Thank you so very, very much. And as I say, I was looking at some places down there today to see if I could rent some place, because I would rather be a part of St. Genevieve's, not 300 miles away, but right there. When I walked into that auditorium at the memorial and saw those 900 students sitting there, I just gave them a thumbs up. I didn't want any applause. I wanted them to know that they're loved and they're in a very good school now.
Thank you, Mrs. Crow.
You have a big smile on your face, Juan.
I just love hearing the stories, Mrs. Crow. I you know.
Well, I bumped into a person today, my optometrist, and I had my St. Genevieve mask on because we can't wear it. We have to go in. And he said to me, "What St. Genevieve is that?" And I said, "It's a small school down in Panorama City." He said, "You're kidding me." I said, "What's the matter?" He said, "Did you know a Carrie Crouch?" Yes, Carrie Crouch coached football with Lyndon. Lyndon's first year there. And he also was in charge of the varsity JV team. And I was amazed, absolutely amazed that I finally felt, and so I guess Dr. Gerlach is going to call Carrie Crouch and tell him that he bumped into Lyndon's wife.
Were they just friends, or what's the connection?
No, Carrie Crouch is married to Dr. Gerlach's sister.
Oh, wow.
And I didn't know that, but with that mask on and that little, and by the way, I use everything you sent to me.
I'm glad.
I thought that was interesting. Very interesting.
Sounds good. Vince, any other questions?
No, it's always just a pleasure to be with you, Mrs. Crow. We love that you joined us for our faculty prayer on Thursdays. We hope you'll continue to do so. It's just a pleasure to be with you.
Well, I'll tell you what, when I come down, I want hugs from both of you.
Guaranteed.